School system today is failing. Very few people are satisfied with the way our public schooling system works. School system that we have today, because it wasn't always like this. In fact, for most of human history, schools didn't even exist. For most of human history, you were a kid, you just grew up learning to do whatever your parents did, learning how to survive, and then that's what you did for the rest of your life until you taught your kids how to do the same thing. Certainly in some certain periods of time, in certain places, there were school systems like in ancient Greece, but these were the anomaly, not the norm, historically speaking.
What's going on is Heavy here, and this video that you were just watching, I think it's very important because the only thing that's worse than a lie is a half-truth, because the half-truth gives you just enough to pull you in to the full lie. I'm telling you, because at first I was like, wow, okay, this is a good video. It's talking about the public education system. And then I finally figured out where he was really going, where he started to say that the public school system is just set up to turn out patriotic, obedient workers. And I want you to pay attention to what he says about workers right here. See, this is how the elite, and the reason I'm calling him elite is because he said he was a stockbroker that made lots of money. So he probably makes more than 6 figures, I'm sure.
This schooling system had one very intentional reason behind it in Prussia, and that was to turn out extremely patriotic, loyal, obedient soldiers. And the schooling system was 100% designed around that. They developed standardized testing. They valued respect for authority over intelligently trying to problem solve and think your way through your own problem. Made them sit in classrooms facing one direction for long periods of time with very little breaks. Had bells to signal when it was time that you were allowed to move from one place to another. Dark, boring hallways, prison-like buildings, standing in line, the inability to play outside of very specific hours, even PE, physical education. Everything was about uniformity, the uniformity in the grading system. You're just one student that sits in a desk that stands in line.
One thing he's not bringing up is that when you talk about the government mandating compulsory school, he's leaving out the fact that that's political, that politics is involved. He's not talking about political power, how people need to organize. The only reason we have compulsory schooling is because a group of people got together in an organized fashion, so they organized politically, and they created the educational system that they thought was beneficial to them and their people. And best believe it's working. Because if the job of this system is to churn out patriotic workers, then it's working. Because a lot of the employees were prepared by school to go to work, to be bored. And that was needed for a long time in America. But a lot of the industrial jobs, the car factories, the oil places, the steel mills, that required you to do boring things for extended periods of time. But a lot of those jobs are gone now. But it did its job. So now it's time for us to politically organize again and change the system to fit our needs. Ours mean working class people.
It doesn't happen that way because the goal is not to get kids really good at math who want to be good at math, and the goal is not to get certain kids really good at engineering, or certain kids really good at finance, or certain kids really good at anything. It's to churn out employees. Now, one science channel called Veritasium has 13.7 million subscribers, regularly getting millions of views per video. If you know anything about that channel, if you've ever watched their videos, they're pretty in-depth scientific videos. The free market has created literally a free education solution where people can learn about anything they want for free, and the people who are best at it are getting all the attention and a lot of money for it.
Man, his purpose is to sell the free market. He is right-wing conservative, it sounds like. He's selling a free market, wants to privatize everything, wants everybody to be business owners and entrepreneurs. That is what he is selling. Listen to how he classifies employees and how he and other people like him look at employees.
Solve all problems, but money does solve all money problems. And people are employees because they have money problems. Here's the hard truth. If you really understand how money works, you are not going to be a work slave, an employee, for the next 60 years. That is how I was able to escape the rat race, by learning how money worked.
He calls the workers slaves. See, a lot of people don't understand that it's an agenda out there to privatize everything and to crap on employees and workers. That's the real agenda of this, is to get you to believe in the idea that anybody that works is a slave, is a peasant, is something unworthy of praise, attention, anything positive, because you're just a slave to these people and they're going to treat you like a slave. But remember, these big corporations need workers. They can't do it all themselves. Jeff Bezos, that owns Amazon, can't deliver all the packages. He just can't. But we're going to crap on the Amazon workers? Well, Amazon wouldn't have all that money without those workers. This is what I'm trying to get people to see. That you're being sold ideas that do not help you. And they package it in half-truths to pull you in, because a lot of what he says is true, but it's a lot that's not true. Yeah, because his main purpose is to sell entrepreneurship, business ownership, and make the ownership class look good, make the elite look good, and make employees look like slaves. That's highly offensive. Because I work a job, my family has worked a job. The majority of Americans throughout history have worked jobs that have not gotten their money from being a business owner or entrepreneur. That's just facts. One of the main economic stabilizers for blacks throughout history has been government jobs, specifically the post office, but a lot of people don't understand that. So how dare anybody downplay, degrade, belittle employees, especially without the employees. None of these large companies could do what they do.